Recently I played Tomb Raider 1 for the first time. After I got over the unusual controls and very cheesy voice acting, I was struck by the clarity of its design. The word I want to use is minimalistic, but I think it's more fundamental than that. Restrained, pure, immersive are other words I could use, but none of them are quite enough to capture what makes this game so compelling. Tomb Raider 1 is a little hard to get into as a modern gamer. The original Tomb Raiders used tank controls, where you rotate and move Lara relative to her current heading, as opposed to modern games where you move relative to the camera. It felt clunky at first, but after a while I really started to grasp its elegance. You see, Tomb Raider is built on a strict grid system, and Lara's movement can be measured in squares. Every step is half a square, every running jump exactly 2 squares, and once you grasp the rules, you know exactly what you can and cannot do. There are no ambiguities, no hidden walls, no sneaky missed jumps. It is a system that is completely consistent. Lara's animations are strictly tied to this movement system, so you are focused on moving a human body in 3D space. TR1's gameplay is not fast-paced, it is very considered and challenging. You have to observe the surroundings and make your own way, using your knowledge of the movement rules and few clues beyond that. Often a clue is sound. The theme is a well-loved classic, but outside of fights, Tomb Raider 1's music is generally very understated. Sometimes the game is silent entirely. This is important because Tomb Raider's combat is punishingly hard, and enemy sounds are a warning you'll always be listening out for. Listening carefully, observing the environment, watching out for traps and secrets, moving with precision. Your discipline doing this will make or break your adventure. Tomb Raider is incredibly tense and demands your sustained focus. I think that's why Tomb Raider 1 has such a minimal UI. The user interface is very stripped back. Unless you draw your weapons or are in poor health, there's no heads-up display. The health bar, when it does appear, comes in very understated gold. A nice nod to the treasure theme, but it also prevents the HUD from being distracting. There's no radio chatter either, unlike certain other Tomb Raider games. You really do feel like a solo adventurer, completely self-reliant in this hostile environment. Loneliness helps the supernatural elements land a lot better too, like when Lara suddenly runs into a T-Rex, or the Geiger-esque body horror of Atlantis. These moments just wouldn't work if we had to explain to a radio sidekick how dinosaurs had survived, or why there were exploding Atlanteans. Tomb Raider 1 then is very much about focus, and with that focus comes the player's strong sense of self. I very much feel like I am the one controlling Lara. I am solving the puzzles. I am beating the levels. Yes, the tank controls are granular, but that's partly the point. You have to input every movement Lara needs to make, yourself. If she needs to turn a corner, you must rotate her. If she needs to grab a ledge, you must put her guns away. Nothing happens automatically. Every success is your own. The whole game from start to finish is a perfectly executed sequence of inputs made by you. Compare that to Tomb Raider Anniversary or Legend a generation later, where the controls are much more automated. Lara will grab ledges automatically, you can mash circle to do acrobatics, and the game leans very heavily on QuickTime events. It's not an invalid design philosophy, but when I replay Tomb Raider Legend, I think, wow, look at the cool thing Lara can do. Whereas in Tomb Raider 1, I think, wow, look at the cool thing I did. The new controls are more fluid, and the gameplay more fast-paced, but I don't feel the same accomplishment. That's not to say Tomb Raider 1 is perfect. The combat is weak, the camera flails about when enemies are nearby, and the punishment for failure is often death. But I think you have to forgive that in the context of how Tomb Raider changed the game industry. Core Design took the 3D movement that other games were treating as a gimmick and put it at the heart of its game design, and that's why this game was such a landmark. Which brings me onto the remasters.
Back again. And you?
Will they soften Tomb Raider 1's sharp edges? Or will they stick proudly to the original vision? I'd be interested to hear what you think. Does Tomb Raider 1's design philosophy still hold up in 2024? Or is this 1996 game strictly a relic from ancient history?